Rentschler, the founder of Pratt Whitney Aircraft Company, said that the best airplane could only be designed around the best engine. You bet he would say that. Rentschler founded the company in 1925, pioneering an air-cooled radial engine design which enabled unprecedented power-to-weight ratio. This first engine, the R1340 Wasp, transformed military and commercial aviation and is still in use today. In 1944, Pratt Whitney began its gas turbine and jet propulsion initiative. It was Englishman Frank Whittle who had taken out a patent for a turbojet engine in 1935, the prototype first running in 1937. Because he couldn't afford the £5 to renew the patent and the Air Ministry refused to pay, the patent lapsed. Perhaps one of the biggest missed opportunities there has ever been. Thus, other companies were free to develop on the work of Whittle. By 1945, Pratt Whitney had produced 300,000 engines, mainly for the World War II effort. From there, they continued to design and innovate more powerful, agile and reliable engines, becoming a leader in the aerospace industry.
Jet engines suck air in the front and push a jet of air out the back. That force is called thrust, and it moves an airplane through the sky. Let's see how it works. A big fan at the front of the engine pulls air around the engine and sucks air into the core. It goes into a compressor, something like many household fans joined together. Each fan gets smaller and smaller as the blades squeeze the air into a tighter and tighter space, compressing the air like you would squeeze a balloon, until that squeezed air is mixed with jet fuel, a kind of super gasoline. In the combustor, that air and fuel mixture meets a flame and shoots out the back of the engine. The rush of hot air spins a turbine. The turbine is like a windmill that scoops up energy from the heated air and spins the shaft connected to the fan at the front of the engine. The excess hot air from the combustor blows out the back of the engine, producing thrust.
Today, Pratt Whitney has more than 85,000 engines in service and more than 16,000 customers worldwide. So, who was this Frederick Rentschler? He was born in 1887 in Ohio, neighbours of the Wright brothers from Dayton, Ohio. Frederick's family owned the Republic Motor Car Company, builder of Republic cars. Upon graduation from Princeton University in 1909, he worked in his family businesses as a moulder and machinist. When the US entered World War I in 1917, he joined the United States Army. He was assigned to inspect Hispano-Suiza aircraft engines manufactured under French license at the Wright-Martin plant in New Brunswick, New Jersey. After the World War I armistice, Rentschler left the Army convinced that future aircraft would require lighter weight engines with much greater power and higher reliability. His proposed design of an air-cooled engine went against conventional wisdom, which held that heavier liquid-cooled engines would power the future of aviation. Rentschler became president of the Wright Aeronautical Corporation and pressed for research into his idea. Unable to convince his board of directors, largely composed of investment bankers with little aviation knowledge, he resigned in 1924. Supported by old friend and Wright Chief Engineer George J. Meade, he developed a proposal for a high-powered air-cooled aircraft engine for the US Navy. In 1925, Rentschler approached the Pratt Whitney Machine Tool Company of Hartford, Connecticut with his idea. They loaned him $250,000 worth about $4.5 million today, and the use of the Pratt Whitney name and space in their building. Thus was created the Pratt Whitney Aircraft Company, in which Rentschler and Mead had a controlling position. So we can see that the Pratt Whitney Company existed before Frederick came along. Francis A. Pratt and Amos Whitney had founded this company in 1860 to manufacture machine tools used to make sewing machines and gun-making machinery for use by the Union Army during the American Civil War. Pratt Whitney aircraft's first engine, completed on Christmas Eve 1925, was named the Wasp by his wife Fay. The 425 horsepower Wasp easily passed its official qualification test in March 1926, and the Navy ordered 200 engines. The speed, climb performance and reliability that the engine offered revolutionised American aviation. Over the next 20 years, from the original Wasp design, the Pratt & Whitney Wasp series developed, approaching 10 times the power of the 1925 engine. In 1929, Rentschler ended his association with Pratt & Whitney Machine Tool Company, but was allowed to keep the name Pratt & Whitney Aircraft Company. Rentschler, Chance Fort and William Boeing formed the United Aircraft and Transport Corporation. United Aircraft completed the first coast-to-coast passenger network in March of that year. In 1934, UATC was broken up and its manufacturing interests east of the Mississippi River became United Aircraft Corporation, headquartered in Hartford, with Rentschler as president. Rentschler turned to developing jet engines after World War II, Pratt & Whitney producing the J57 jet engine in 1953. The engine was used to power the first B-52 Stratofortress in 1954. Rentschler remained as president of United Aircraft until his death in 1956. He was inducted into the National Aviation Hall of Fame in 1982. Aviation pioneers Charles Lindbergh, Amelia Earhart and James Doolittle all flew in aircraft powered by Pratt & Whitney engines. Thank you for watching. Liking and subscribing encourages new content.